CFR Part 250 guarantee a certificate of the trustee of the railroad organization. 251 form and the content of the application. 252 the required exhibits. 253 fees. 254 execution filing application. 255 general inspection instruction. Alright, 251 form of the content application. The application shall include the order and indicate with the section numbers, the letter of the corresponding with the within the part of the following as to the trustee, full correct name of the principal of the business, the draft, the name of the draft of the reorganization court order, the direction in which the trustee is acting with the docket number of the proceeding. 3, the name of the title of the draft of the person with the corresponding regarding with the application shall be the draft of the 4, the brief description of the loan and its purpose, the purpose of the including the statements. 1, the total amount of the loan, the amount of the beginning of the guarantee being solved. 2, the purpose of which the loan is proceed will be used. 13, the maturity of the date with the dates. 4, the date with the dates for which the trustee desired the funds to be made available. 5, the rate of the interest. 5, the statement is some of the form of the showing the financial obligation to the claim for the United States for the obligation for which the United States is guarantor. If any application for the application payment to be the date of the application, including the status of any claims litigation, 2, any of the debts for the credits existing between the application and the United States joining the department of the agency involved with such a loan and the claims such as the other debts. 6.1, statement on behalf of the trustee that the trustee has endeavored to obtain the loan or loans per purpose or purposes proposed without the guarantee by the secretary, but the other has not been able to obtain the loan therefore the unreasonable terms, if only with upon the terms considerable unreasonable to shame the setting of the worth of such terms and describing any fact relevant thereto. Information as the trustee of efforts to obtain the need financing without the guarantee therefore by the secretary and as the result of such efforts as to be the section 252 B1 to the exhibits on the subject. The full complete statement of together with the independent supporting evidence will be whether feasible concerning. The effect of cessation of the essential transportation service or carrier would have the public welfare, the full complete statement with together with the support evidence where the possible demonstrating with the cessation, essential transportation service of the application carrier emitting full complete statements due together with the supporting evidence if possible, therefore there's no other practical means to obtain the funds to meet the payroll other expense for the necessary to provide essential transportation service to other issuance the trustee certificate. Such trust statements shall include the detailed completing listing of the non-transportation assets if the carrier and corporate affiliate subsidiary having a fair market value of not less than $50,000 together with the amount encumbersome, but if any of the statement plan with the disposition, sale or sale such assets means for the obtaining of the fine necessary for the essential transportation services. 7, full complete statement of together with the supporting evidence if it is possible to demonstrate with the particularity of the carrier responsibly expected to become self-sustaining within the reasonable period of time. 11, full complete statement together with the supporting evidence if the probable value of the asset for the carrier in liquidation provides reasonable protection for the United States as the holder and holders. Full correct name of the principal business, address, the name and address of principal executive officer, the director of the partner, with reference to the applicable provision, the law of the charter, of the other governing instructions covering the authority, governing instruments of conferring with the authority to lender to make the loan and accept the proposed obligation. 4, brief statement of the circumstances, negotiations leading to the agreement of lender to make the proposed loan, including the name and address of any person or employees that carried out the representing the purporting to represent the trustee in connection with the negotiations. 5, the brief statement of the nature extent of the affiliation with the business relationship between the lender and any of the director of the partners, principal executive officer on the other hand, or on the other the carrier, any other direction partner of the principal executive officers, any person whose names are required to furnish them in paragraph B4 of this section. Full complete statement of the sum of the paid to be made, any of the other consideration given to be given to the lender in connection within the proposed loan, and including with respect thereto, name and address and each of the person to whom the payment is made to and or to be made, the amount of the cash payment, nature of the value of the other consideration, the exact nature of the services rendered to be rendered, any condition upon obligation of the lender may make such payment. The 5, the nature of the affiliation as association prior business relationship between any person named in an answer to paragraph 6.1 of the section lender and any of the section directors, partners or officers, and C, at this part of the financing as an impact of the financing environment, summary statement of the use for which the funds put an anticipated impact with the environment after reviewing the submission of the administrator retained the right to require the trustee to submit the detailed assessment of the financing impact environment, general format supplied with the administrator. 252, required exhibit that shall be filled with made of the part of the application copy thereby following exhibits except the exhibit to be filed with the administrator pursuant to the sum of the other statute provisions regulations which are same format as following exhibits may be incorporated in made a part of the application filed with under this part and the reference while application is pending with the actual date of the data will become available to play for the estimated forecast data required with the exhibit under the part with the actual data that must be reported promptly to the administrator within form of required with the appropriate exhibit. The following exhibits are required with the concern of the trustee and with the concern carrier. The exhibit 1 copy with the duly certified order with the court with the instrument of the appointing of the trustee with the carrier. As exhibit 2 is certified copy with the order of the reorganization court with the jurisdiction application authorization and 1 filling of the application for the administrator with the guarantee of the trustee certificate, 2 filing with the application with the Interstate Commerce Commission for the authority to issue the trustee certificate, 3 that such a pledge security for the loan and guarantee with the application with the provision pro purpose connection with exhibit 3 and 4 the compliance with the trustee with the condition of the guarantee imposed with the law and under administration. As exhibit 3 full complete the statement together with the supporting evidence of the probable value with the assets of the railroad in the event of the liquidation provides the reasonable protection of the United States. 4 exhibit 4 meets a map of the carrier's exhibit railroad. 5 exhibit statement showing the miles of lines owned with the miles operated with the number of the unit for locomotive freight and car for the passenger cars owned, leased, or principal commodities carried and identified with the 10 most important industries served. Exhibit 6, statement of whether the railroad affiliated with the carrier has applied with the receipt of the federal assistance in 1970. Exhibit 7, the statement showing the total dividends and if declared total dividends paid for each of the last 5 calendar years for each of the month of the current year for the last available date. Exhibit 8, copy of the application most recent year general and applying to certified with the application independent public accounts. If available, the copy of the applications must be recent unaudited general balance sheet, but it is dated not less than recent. Then, end of the 3rd month, the receipt of the day of the filing of the application for the unaudited balance sheet with the presented and account form of the details required in Schedule 200 of the Commission Annual Report R1 and R2. As appropriate together with the following schedules where change for the accounts for the end of the prior year with the date the application have not been significant copies appropriate to the schedules for the prior years R1 or R2 for the marginal notions listing and the change of the base substituted. 1. Particular account of 704 of loans and notice of receivable to inform of the details required for the statute Schedule 201 of the annual report R1 for the Class 1 railroads and similar with the Class 2 railroads except with the Class 2 railroads loans and notes receivable for each less than $25,000 may be combined in single amount parties. Particular investments in the affiliated company's other investment inform the detailed required schedules 205, 206 of the annual report of the R1 schedules 1001 to 1002 annual report R2 is appropriate. 3. Particular with the balance in accounts of 741, other assets of 743 of the deferred charge for the inform of the detail required in Schedule 216, the annual report R1, and Schedule 1703, the annual report R2 is appropriate. Particular loan notes payable the form of the details required with the Schedule 223 in the annual report R1 and Schedule 1701 in the annual report R2 for the appropriate as well as the information bank loans including the name of the bank date, the amount with the original loan, current balance and the maturities for the rate with the interest and security and if any. 6. Particular loan debt with the form of the detail required with the Schedules 218 and 219 in the annual report R1, Schedule 670, 695, 901, 902, 718, 02 in the annual report R2 is appropriate together with a brief statement concerning each of the mortgage pledge for the other lien indicating the property securities encumbered with the mortgage limit per mile, if any of the particulars to the prior priority. 6. Particular balance with the account and 784 other deferred credits in a form details required in Schedule 225 of the annual report R1 form and Schedule 1704 and the annual report R2 form as appropriate. Our particulars are capital stacks inform the detailed required schedule of the 228, 229, 230 the annual report R1, Schedule 69 with the annual report R2 with its appropriate exhibit 9 is a copy of the carrier of the application report of the stockholder of the report of the trustee for each of the 3 years preceding of the year with which the application is filed. And exhibit 10 application must be recent annual income statement that is certified by the applicant independent public accounts if applicable to spreadsheet showing with the unaudited monthly year to date with the income status data with the calendar year with the application filled with in the account similar to the required column of the A, Schedule 300 of the annual report R1 and R2 with the appropriate for these months for the proceeding ending up with the date with the unaudited balance sheet present with the exhibit A for the income statement shall be reported on actual base with the note for those moments between the unaudited balance sheet for the following application for the income statement. The data shall be reported with the estimated balance basis so noted with this shall be submitted with the conjunction with corresponding estimated month end of the balance sheets for the months between the date of the application end of the year income statement data shall be presented on the forecast basis noted so noted that they shall be submitted with the conjunction with a forecast balance of it as the year ended. As Exhibit 11 spreadsheet showing that each of the 4 years subsequent to the years of the application filed with the before and after the giving the effect of the proceed added assistance required for the application. 1. Forecast annual income statement, data account in the form detail is similar required with the column A with the schedule 300 of the annual report R1 and R2 is appropriate, including the subcounts compromising line 2 with the railway operating expenses are specified in line by line 64, 92, 105, 159, 166, 180, and schedule 320, and 2. The forecast year-end balance sheet is account with the form detailed similar with the required Schedule 200 annual report R1 and or R2, but as appropriate, the spreadsheet shall be accompanied with a statement setting the for the base of the forecast. 12. And Exhibit 12, the spreadsheet showing the change of the financial portion of the year within which the application filled with the account form of the detail with the required Schedule 309 annual report R1 and R2, appropriate the files of 1 to 4, that period ending with the date with the unaudited balance sheet with the Exhibit C with the based on actual data 2. For the period of the balance sheet data for the end of the year based on the estimated forecast data. 13. Exhibit 13, a spreadsheet showing the forecasted change of the financial position each of the 4 calendar years subsequent to the year which the application is filed both before and after, given the effect of any of the funds requested for the application, including the statement showing the base for of such estimates account with the form and detail required schedule 309 annual report R1 from the classes 1 railroads for the similar form of the detailed class 2 railroads. 14. Exhibit 14 statement showing the actual cash balance for the beginning of each for the month, actual cash receipt, disbursements during the each month term of the year to date with the last balance sheet for the furnished for the Exhibit 8, together the monthly forecast both before and after, giving the effect of the proceed of the proposed loan with the balance for the current year for the year subsequent thereto. 15. Exhibit 15, general statement of the setting for the fourth of the facts estimated with the prospective earnings of other funds that would be applicant relied to them repaying the loan. The following exhibits are required for this transaction. 1. Exhibit 16, copy of the correspondence from all and not less than 3 lending institutions security underwriting with the application for the financing have been made evidence that has been declined financing unless guaranteed by the secretary specifying the terms upon which they will undertake the financing. With such guarantee that in Exhibit 17 the specimens of the form specimens not available to all securities pledged otherwise will be issued with connection with the proposed loan. In the case of the mortgage, copy of the mortgage indenture. Exhibit 18, copy of the loan, the agreement entered into and to be entered into between the trustee and the lender, and if any of the agreements of the instrument executed to be or executed with the connection with the proposed loan. 253, fees. On the date of the final planning of the loan guarantee with the security pursuant to the application filed with under this property, the application criteria with the trustee is still existent, shall pay and cover the pay with the administrator with the guarantee with such amount with the administrator hereafter be determined to prescribe necessary to cover the administrative costs carrying out the provisions of Emergency Railway Services Act 1970. Alright, 250, existing of the filing application. The filing procedure will be given the execution filling the application. The original application shall be dated with the execution be signed with the ink of the behalf of the trustee, and the lender with the execution behalf of the trustee shall be given trustee or truster having knowledge of matters therefore set forth and for signing with the application on behalf of the trustor or the lender of the respectively shall assign with the certificate in the form of the files. Name of the official certified that he is the blank title of the official and the name of the carrier of the lender that he is authorized on the part of the said applicant to be signed with the file with the administrator with the application exhibit with the attached thereto. He has to carefully examine all the statements contained with such application exhibits attached thereto made in the part of therefore relating to the aforesaid name of the carrier and lending therefore the knowledge of the matter set forth therein and all such states minutes are made matters set forth herein are true, correct, and best for the knowledge of the information behalf. Or B, there shall be made of the part of that other application, there should be made a part of the original application of the following certificate of the chief accounting official of the carrier. Name of the officer certifying that he is blank, the title of the officer of blank, the name of the carrier applicant, that he supervision over the books account, other financial records of the carrier, that he control over the manner with which they are kept, the such account that they maintain a good faith with accordance with the effective accounting and other orders in the Interstate Commerce Commission, that he examine the financial statements reporting the schedule, including in the application for the best for the knowledge for the behalf of the statement that accurately reflect the accounts of the statement in the book of the accounts that other than the matter of the set forth and exemptions attached to the such statement and the said financial statement supporting schedules represent with the true and complete statement of the financial position for the carrier application that there is no undisclosed assets, liability commitment, the purchase property, the security, the commitment, the litigation, the current court's contingent rental agreements, or other contingent transactions, what might materially affect the financial position and carrier's application and the date. Alright, the original application self-reporting papers and 6 copies, therefore, the use of an administrative set forth and filed with the Administrative Federal Railroad Administration Department of Transportation, Washington, D.C. Simultaneously, 1 copy of the application supporting papers shall be filed with the Secretary of the Interstate Commerce Commission, Washington, D.C. Each copy that shall bear the date of the signatures of appear of the original shall be complete in itself with the signatures of the copies may be stamped or typed. An unusual difficulty arrived at furnishing any of the exhibits required in Statute 252 for carrier application from lender under the appropriate showing that with the consent with the administrative may file a lesser number. In the event of the furnishing of the exhibit detailed requirement in Statute 252 is shown by the applicant and applicants to unduly burdensome relationship, the nature and amount of the loan with the administrator shall modify the requirement amendments that said section. In addition, the administrator may waive the modified any requirements of the part of the good because shown makes any of the additional requirements may deem necessary. Alright, 255, general instruction. The application approved by the Administrative Secretary of the Transportation later agree with the makers of the guarantee following the documentation will be required to deposit for the administrator before the transaction is closed. Final opinion by the counsel for the trustee for the effect of the file familiar with the corporate power of the carrier application for the order for the reorganization court of the trustee over the carrier application authorized the execute deliver the certificate of the obligation evidence for the same that the pledge to the hypotheticated any securities and pledge for the collateral for that the certificate of the other obligations executed delivered with the consent to the valid and binding obligation for the trustee is the care of the certificate of the other obligation trustees will be treated with the expense for the administrative to receive the highest lien on the railroad's property of the property in payment under the Bankruptcy Act. Then one lender of the secretary will obtain the lien, but the secretary involved with the rank with the priority representative of the trustee. Such an opinion shall also cover the priority with the lien of each of the collateral offered. Alright, 2, certified copy of the reorganization court's order for the decrease for the increasing authorizing trustees to execute and deliver the certificates other than the obligation to give the security or under the according to the terms of the loan guarantee as prescribed in the administrative special order. And the order for the reorganization court shall specify that the trustee certificate the guarantee with the security to payment the principal and interest shall be treated with the expense of the administrator with receive the highest lien for the railroad's property and priority of the payment under the Bankruptcy Act. Unexecuted copy of the foregoing documents delivered with the administrative 3 business days prior to closing. The guarantee of the secretary on loan pursuant with the application filed with the provided with it should be part of not with the contribute with the received within care for the complying with the applicable provisions of Section 220A of the Interstate Commerce Act for Title 49 U.S. Standard Code 20A relationship to the issuance of the trustee's certificates. And that was Part 256 Financial Assistance to Railroad Passenger Terminals. Was it? I don't think it was. Was it? Sorry, no, it was 250 guarantee certificate trustees for the railroad reorganization.